Good morning. You may be joining us live or watching the replay. Either way, welcome to my online catalogue launch, the 2025-2026 annual catalogue. That sounds so far in the future, but it's actually happening now, believe it or not. We have a brand new catalogue out, and my job today is to show you some of the new things in this catalogue. Some of the things I will be showing you or talking about will be exclusively on the online store. So if you're looking through your catalogue and you can't find a particular product, if I haven't given you a page number, for example, to go to find something, I will mention as we go through whether certain products, accessories, stamps are exclusively in the online store. So something to remember is that the catalogue itself is not a comprehensive one-stop for everything that Stampin' Up! Offers. You can browse to your heart's content on my online store, and you will find everything. You can even search for a particular item if you know the description, the name of the item, or even just the item code. So that is definitely your one-stop for everything that Stampin' Up! Offers. The catalogue is a fantastic resource, however, and I think it's great to have it in your craft library because there are so many ideas and ways of using the products that you won't see anywhere else. So it's definitely an ideas book, and it does catalogue some of the main items that are exclusive to Stampin' Up! As well. So today, what we're going to do, just to do a little bit of housekeeping to get started. Hi Pamela, I can see Gwenda's here. There's a couple of people joining us. Good to see you. What's going to happen today is I'm going to take you through the catalogue. If you don't have a physical copy, let me know in the comments below the video and I will get one out to you. I'm happy to drop one into you or post one to you if you would like a hard copy. It is online. You can look at the PDF online, and there is an online version of the catalogue as well. So you can go straight to my store and have a look there if you like. But I know if you're like me, you like to have your physical copy. I love to put all my post-it notes in there. I like to make notes in the margins. There's actually spaces for you to write ideas, and there's space for a wish list and your craft projects that you've got coming up and what you might need for those projects. So it is definitely an interactive catalogue in that way. I think they've done a great job helping us to work out what we've got coming up and what we might need to support the projects that we're going to be creating. So if you want a physical copy, please do let me know. I'm going to show you two projects to start with, and you can grab a cuppa if you haven't already, grab some snacks and just relax and watch me demonstrate some of the new products for you. And then at the end, if you have registered for the craft along, which I know some of you have, and some of you got your little kits that I sent you in the mail, you can craft along with me for the last project. So hang tight for that. I will let you know when we're up to that part. And the things that I asked you to have on hand, you've got a chance to grab those now or during the presentation today. So if you don't have the craft along kit, that's okay. You can either just watch or you can use what you've got at home from your crafting stash. So I'm going to be sharing some ideas with some of the new products from one of the suites that is my favorite. So that's at the end. I also wanted to share with you that I've got a special deal on for people who are watching either live or the replay until the end of the month. So this whole month of May, if you're placing an order, you will get a thank you card and a little gift from me in the mail. but those of you who are watching will know about a special deal that I've got. Hi, Nicole. Good to see you. I'll see you later. Yeah, so I'm going to be putting people in the draw to win one of our exclusive all-inclusive kits. So if you haven't seen these are available in the online store. They're worth around $30 plus, and they're all inclusive. So you've got stamps, ink, cardstock, embellishments are all in there to make usually around about 8 to 10 cards. Hi Anne, good to see you. Yeah, and so you'll go in the draw to win this. I've got 3 to give away. So when you spend $100, you'll automatically go in the draw. Spending $100 before shipping before the end of May puts you in the draw to win one of these, and I will announce the winners at the end of the month. So good luck. There's 3 different kits to choose from. Now, if you happen to already have a kit, I'll check with you beforehand if you're one of the winners, and I can switch it out for something else if you've already got one of these kits. So we can work that out. So don't stress, you won't be doubling up, but good luck to everyone. And I'm going to switch the camera around. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say was if you've got questions as we go through, if I don't answer them as we go, so I may miss your question on my screen, I've got a running comment section as I'm filming, just pop it down the bottom of this video in the comment section, or I'll come back to it later if you've already put it in the comments, and I'll answer them at the end once we're finished. So if I don't address your questions straight away, don't worry, I will go back and I'll give you an answer later. All right, I'm going to switch around and we'll get going with our first project. So let me pop you in the cradle there. Hopefully you can see. I'm going to move my light so we don't have any shadows. Okay, beautiful. I think that's all good. Let me know if you've got any questions as I go through, and as I said, I'll try and answer them, but if I don't, I will definitely answer them later. Okay, so my first project is going to be introducing the new in colours. If you have already seen the catalogue online, or you might already have your hard copy, we have 5 new in colours for this catalogue. So here's the ones that were introduced in 2024. So they are around for another year. But these ones are our brand new ones. So you may not have seen these in action before, and I'm going to show you how I've used them all together on one project. So sit tight for that, but I'll just give you the names so that you know. One of them you may recognise from previous years, and that's Strawberry Slush. So that's that gorgeous strawberry colour there. And one thing to note is that we have all of these in our ink pads, so our classic ink pads. All are available, all the colours except for the cloud cover one, and I'll explain a little bit about that as we go through. The second one, so we've done Strawberry Slush. The second one is called Timid Tiger, and to me that is just a darker version of our Peach Pie. So these would be a good combination to use if you're wanting a softer colour of the same shade. Next one is Darling Duckling. This is a lovely, bright, happy sunshine yellow. We haven't had a lovely, bright, happy yellow for a good while, so I'm really happy to have this in the collection. And I think these 3 in particular work beautifully together. See how gorgeous that combination is. And then we've got a really mysterious one called Secret Sea. Now, I'm not sure if you can see the colour, but it's almost black. It's very dark. It's darker than Night of Navy. And yes, you can see I've got a little bit on my hand there. It is a beautiful colour, and all of these come in ink pads, cardstock, and the Stampin blends. And we also have a combination in our Stampin' Right markers, so you can actually get all of the colours that you want of this whole new colourway, new in colours in our Stampin' Right markers. Now, the reason we don't have the cloud cover is because there was an issue with the formulation of the ink, and basically, because it's a really, really light colour, and I know you can probably see cloud cover, it's almost like a silvery blue colour. It's absolutely beautiful, but because it's so light and the colour is so exact, it's not a colour we've had previously. It's not like any colour we've had, in fact. There was a little problem with the formulation, so they are not offering it in the large ink pad. And what I'm going to suggest is that you use the cloud cover ink refill. So you'll see we've got that's still in the online store, and there's an item code for that, just not the pad. And there are some Stampin' spots that you can buy that are unfilled, uninked, and you'll see them in the online store. So I'm going to give you the item code for the Stampin' spots, and I've just taken a screenshot and printed it out for you, and you'll find them in the online store. You actually get 6 of them, so you can customize and you can make your own ink pads. You don't have to purchase an entire, like a large classic ink pad. In fact, if you just wanted to get the refills, you could make yourself one of each of the new in colours, and you could also have a cloud cover one. Sorry, you get 5, it looks like, in there. I thought that was 6, but that's the lid. So you actually get 5, one for each of the in colours, which would be perfect to start out with, and then you would have a cloud cover. So they are $17.50, and the item code is 141H22. That's just something to write down for future. If you've got a bit of a running wish list, you might want to pop that on your wish list so that you could come back to it and remember how to order that. You won't find them in the catalogue, but they are in the online store, the uninked Stampin' spots. So now that I've introduced you to the new in colours, let me show you a project that we're going to be creating. Right, so what I've done here is I've actually created some strips, and I started off with 1 piece each of the new in colour. So this is what they look like in the cardstock, and I've cut these to, if you want the measurements, it's 14.4 centimetres by 9.75 centimetres, and I've cut these down into strips of so they're actually 9.75 in length and 2.88, it works out, centimetres in width. So we've got 9.75 length, 2.88 centimetres in width, and this is the perfect size to create a little rainbow going down our card. I've also got a piece of basic white card, and I've used my Stampin' trimmer, my paper cutter, so it makes it so easy to measure. We have both inches and centimetres on our Stampin' trimmer. If you don't have a paper cutter, I can recommend ours. You'll find that in the catalogue and the online store. Here is a sheet of basic white, and you'll see that this is slightly larger, slightly wider than the strips. And the strips are going to fit down this way. Let me just arrange them how they're going to go. Put them in the right order. And you'll see how they fit on, and you've still got a little bit of a white frame around them. Can you see that? So they've been cut so that they fit exactly on that piece of basic white. So what we're going to do, what I'm going to show you, is how to stamp on those. Especially as I don't have a cloud cover ink pad, I'm going to do tone on tone, and I'm going to show you a different ink pad that you can use to create a tone on tone effect. And I'm going to use a brand new stamp set, which comes as a bundle, but we're just using the stamp set here. It's called Notes and Totes. And you will see this in the catalogue. It's actually on page 81. So let me just find it so you can see what it looks like. It's a gorgeous little stamp set, and it comes with some really cute dies, which I'll be showing you in a second. So there it is, Notes and Totes. You'll see it's got some nice greetings. It's got some lovely little patterns. So it's a sun, some water drops, a hibiscus, a little pebble pattern, and some flowers. And this is the set of dies that goes with it. So together they're 10% off. They're a 10% off bundle, stamps and dies together. You can just purchase the stamps, or you can just purchase the dies. The dies are actually standalone, and they make these really cute little tote bags. So I'm going to show you how to make one of those in a little while. So that's where it comes from, so you know. And the patterns, so the images are the stamps that we're using mainly for our project. So what I'm going to do is just get these off the basic white so that I can stamp on them easily. And I'm going to go with the hibiscus first. So because I'm using strawberry slush, I thought the hibiscuses are pink. I wanted to go with that lovely tropical pink colour. This could be a strawberry daiquiri. It's giving off some strawberry daiquiri vibes. Definitely. Strawberry slush was one of those colours. I think it was an in colour when it was around maybe about 10, 15 years ago even. I've been a demonstrator for nearly 20 years, so I can't remember the years that colours came out, but I do remember the names of these colours. I'm going to go with our Darling Duckling next. I'm going to leave this one for a second just to do the Darling Duckling next. And this one obviously suits our sun. So you can see this little pattern, very cute. There is a little die in the set that goes with the bag. It's got like a little sunscreen tube, and it looks really cute when you stamp the sun on there. Secret Sea is next, and I'm going to stamp our flowers on that. So you'll get a really subtle look with this because it's tone on tone. And as you can see, it almost looks black, but these flowers do stand out against that beautiful cardstock. This is such a gorgeous colour. I can't wait to use it with other projects as well. A nice one to use for masculine cards, I think. And finally, we've got those little pebbles. So I'm just going to dive in to my Timid Tiger and just stamp a couple along there. Hopefully you can see that. Yep. So just tone on tone is all we're doing. We're creating a bit of texture, visual texture on these little strips so that they look a little bit more interesting. Now, the water drops, I haven't used them yet, and I'm going to go and grab my Versamark ink pad. Now, my Versamark pad is very much loved. You'll see it looks a little bit brown. It actually works quite well. I probably need to get a new one. Some people tell me that, you really should get a new one, but while it's working fine, I just keep re-inking it. But I don't know if you can see that. So this is actually it's like a watermark pad. We also use it for embossing. So if you've done heat embossing before, you would have used Versamark to create a wet image to apply your powder to. And you'll see as it dries, it goes a little bit darker. Can you see that? It's just got those little subtle water drops on there, and it's taken away the plainness of that beautiful cloud cover cardstock. It's got a real silvery look to it, that colour. And yeah, I love it. So just remember, you can still use cloud cover in an ink pad. You'll just need to make your own. And it is a great way to get lots of colours by just purchasing the re-inkers and those little Stampin' spots that I showed you. All right, this is ready to assemble now. So what I'm going to do is grab some Tombow. So this is our multi-purpose glue. A little bit goes a long way. Let me just shake it down to the bottom. Is this one going to play nice for me? Sometimes if they've been sitting on their bigger base, they don't actually come out the smaller end. Here we go, this is better. We'll go with this one. I am going to get inky fingers today, but I'm going to try really hard not to get smudges on my projects. If I do though, I have some that I prepared earlier, so I can always show you those instead. Okay, so you can see I'm just layering these down that piece of basic white, and I'm leaving a frame around them, so they will be framed by the white cardstock, and they will stand out against my card base, which is going to be basic black, and I will show you what that looks like in a second. So just make sure these are straight. Just want to make sure. Good thing about having the wet glue is before it dries, you've got a little bit of time to maneuver the cardstock in place. All right, so that looks good. I'm happy with that. You can set that aside to dry. And our card base, as I said, is basic black. And I could use my Stampin' trimmer, but another easy way to fold a card is using your bone folder. So just meet the corners like that and then just smooth it out with your bone folder. You've got a card base with a nice clean fold. And I'm going to just get a little bit of glue on the back here. So you'll find all of our cardstock in the back of the catalogue. I'll give you a quick tour after I finish this first card and show you where all of the cardstock is. But the basic white and basic black are in part of the neutrals, and they're probably the ones that we would use the most. All right, so there is our background already done. Doesn't that look great? Don't you love all of those colours together? I think they look fantastic together. All right, next thing is I'm going to create a greeting. And I have a punch here that is, you'll find it in the punches section of the back of the catalogue. Let me just go to that section. One of the things I love about this new catalogue is that everything is grouped together again. So we had a little bit of feedback from our catalogue from last year that it was really hard to find everything in one place. And so I think it's great that Stampin' Up! Have listened to us, and they've grouped together things like the embellishments and the punches, and the designer series papers in particular are grouped together again at the back of the catalogue. You will see more in the online store, but as you're going through this catalogue, you'll see everything is nice and organised again in the one place, which I find easier. I like to know that everything is in the one place when I'm looking for a punch, for example. So here's my punch shape. It's called Heartfelt Hexagon, and you'll find it on page 105. You'll also find more punches in the online store. And I really do like this one because it fits a whole lot of greetings, but it's just still a nice compact shape on a card. So it doesn't take up too much real estate. And I've just punched that out of some basic black, and what I'm going to do is use my embossing buddy. So this is in the Embossing Essentials kit. You'll find the embossing buddy, and that just stops the powder from spreading out further than our greeting. We just want it on the greeting. We don't want it anywhere else. And this greeting is actually from a stamp set called The Right Words. I've got a little embellishment sitting there. This is called The Right Words, and it's a new stamp set. And basically it covers pretty much all occasions all the way throughout the year. So if you're looking for a happy birthday, a thinking of you, I like this one. I know a good thing when I see it, and I see lots of good things in you. I thought that was a really lovely, encouraging little greeting for somebody. I'm going to put the thinking of you aside because I'm going to use that for our card later. I found it. I couldn't remember what stamp set that was from, so I found it again. But there is everything in here that you would need throughout the year. So, you know, thank you, I'm thinking of you, sympathy, all of the things that you might need throughout the year. So I think it's a great little greeting set, and you'll find that in the new catalogue. It's one of the new sets. Okay, so here we go. We're going to get our Versamark again, and I'm going to ink up that stamp. Just make sure it's nice and wet. So you want lots of ink for that powder to stick to. Okay, give it a bit of time to transfer. And I could use my little tray, but if I'm careful, I probably can do this without it. So you just want to cover the greeting and then just tip it back in. Now, if you get a little extra halo around your embossing, around your greeting, all you need to do, see that little extra line there? I don't want that there. So all you need to do is wipe it away, either with a brush or just the tip of your finger. And then when you come to melt, it's not going to show up. Okay, so it's only the powder that we've got on the stamped greeting that is going to show up. So here's my heat tool. Okay, I'll flip it round so you can see none of that extra line is showing now because I wiped it off. Alrighty, it's looking pretty good. Okay, so I've got my greeting. If you've got some of the extra powder from your embossing buddy, once your embossing's dry, you can just wipe that off. Just give it a wipe with your finger or wipe it on a dry cloth, and the black background will stand out again. I've got some black Stampin' dimensionals here, and I'm going to put about 5 of them on the back. So all the way around the edges and maybe just one in the middle. Reason being is we're going to be putting some ribbon behind here. Now we have some new ribbon. It's not white, it's actually basic beige, which I think gives a softer look to a card like this. I've just exposed those dimensionals. This is our brand new basic beige, and this actually comes from the beautiful gallery suite, which is where your little pack comes from. If you have got your craft along pack there in front of you, you don't have any of this ribbon, but it actually comes from the same suite, and it is beautiful and soft. Because it's basic beige, it's a little bit darker than vanilla, and it just gives a softer look. It's not quite as stark as the white. It goes with everything, of course, because it's a neutral. So look out for that in the new catalogue in the beautiful gallery suite. So I'm just going to make a little zigzag. This is how I like to do my dynamic ribbon effect behind a greeting, for example. I just do a little zigzag like that, and I cut with my paper snips. And what you want to do is make sure that your ribbon is standing out either side at a bit of a diagonal, I guess. If it's too long, you can always trim those, right? So the idea is you want to have some of the dimensionals exposed. Now, if you've got a little bit of a gap and you need extra, just grab another dimensional like that. I might grab another one for this side as well. It's a bit hard to see black on black, but that's kind of the idea. Black dimensionals are great when you're using black cardstock, and you actually get 4 sheets. You get 2 of the mini dimensionals and 2 sheets of the larger dimensionals. So it's actually really good value. All right, so I'm going to just pop this here. And yes, I've decided I'm going to give it a bit of a trim. So get your lovely sharp paper snips and just trim off these ends, just so they don't take up too much room on the card. All right, we're almost done. Now, I think every card needs a little bit of bling, whether it's with embossing or glimmer paper, foil paper, or even some texture. Okay, so what I've decided is I'm going to use some of these little dots, and these are spots that are they're actually all of them are the new colours. I'll get it out eventually. All of them are new in colours. So you'll find these in the accessories section. They're called in colour flat pearls. And you'll find them on page 43. And you'll see there's the Strawberry Slash, the Timid Tiger, the Darling Duckling, Cloud Cover, and Secret Sea. They're all there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to match them with each of the strips. Okay, so I'm varying, there's small, medium, and large, and I'm varying them, the sizes as I go. So I'm going to choose a small one for the yellow. So I've gone large, medium, and small. And then I'm going to go back to large again for Secret Sea. And I'm sort of varying where I place them too. So I just wanted them to look fairly random. So maybe this one can go about here like that. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So see how that brings out the colour of each of the strips. It highlights a little bit of bling on each one and just adds a little bit more interest to the background. We've already stamped it, but I think that takes it to the next level. If you're wanting to write inside your card and it has black cardstock, a little tip is you can actually cut a piece of basic white the same size as this basic white on the front and place it inside there, and you can write in your black or blue ink. Or if you've got a gel pen that stands out against dark cardstock, that's another option for you. So that's my card. I hope that's given you some ideas to use with the coloured cardstock that you've got at home. Sometimes you might have some strips that are spare strips or scraps that are just sitting on your craft desk, and you can create a card very similar. Yeah, very simple, Pamela, absolutely. But I love simple, right? Simple is good. I'm glad you like it. Do you like the in colours? That's the main question. I love hearing people's reactions to the in colours, because each year they're different. I know in previous years we've had some really muted vintage kind of colours. These are going to the bright end of the scale again. And I love how we alternate. And because we've got in colours, we can always bring in colours that are on trend, right? So the Pantone colour of the year, that type of thing. This is what inspires our colour collections. All right, let me grab my catalogue again, and I'm going to take you through. I did say I was going to do this first, but I got excited and I went straight into crafting, because, you know, that's what I'm about. But let me just get a little bit of space, and I want to show you some cards actually before I go into the catalogue. Let me show you these first. So you know how I said if you've got strips, you can use them. Don't throw anything out. I actually have a box with all my thin strips and not so thin strips so that I can create cards like this. This one again is using the Notes and Totes bundle. So we've got the words there, we've got some hearts which you can create with the dies, but these are my strips that I've used up. So I've got one each of the in colours, and I've just put them on the corners. Easy way to do that is just stick them on and then trim around the edges, and they look like they've been perfectly cut for that size. I've just got a little bit of bling behind with our glimmer paper, our gold glimmer paper, and that is on the beautiful cloud cover cardstock. So it's like a rainbow amongst the clouds. That was my inspiration for this card, using up some more strips. Here are some more in colours. Now this is using one of the stamp sets in the beautiful gallery suite, and one of the stamps I've actually used the Stampin' Right markers, and you'll see that each of the stamps is two tones. So we've got the colour for our flower and also the colour for the leaves. And these are so versatile. You can use them just as one colour on a stamp, but they allow you to multicolour stamps. And that's why I love our Stampin' Right markers. You don't want to use our alcohol inks on the stamps because they can damage them, but that's what these are for. You can use the Stampin' Right markers because they're water-based and easy to clean, just the same ink as is in our ink pads. And you clean your stamps the same way with the mist and your scrub. But you can create cards that look like this. And these are just some little note cards that I whipped up very quickly, using some of my strips again for the greeting. Very simple, not even any embellishments on these. They were super quick to put together, and I love the two-tone effect. So I just thought I'd show you those because they showcase the in colours as well. All right, now we're ready to dive into the catalogue. Let me open it up for you. All right, so we have a table of contents, as usual. Again, I'm going to remind you that although this looks fairly comprehensive and there is a lot in this catalogue, I would recommend you heading to the online store if you want to see everything. So if you want to see all of our stamps, you go to the online store and type in the search bar stamps. If you want to see all of our dies, do the same. This is just some of the new products that have been in this catalogue. Will contain some of the new products that have been introduced, the sweets, and many things that have a lot of samples and inspiration for you, so that you can use it as a magazine, use it as a crafters magazine. I have got all of my old catalogues in my craft library, and I frequently go back and look at the samples. I may not have that stamp set anymore, but I can use those samples pictured on the pages as inspiration, right? Even colours, putting colours together, things that you might not think of off your own bat are there for inspiration. The icons that you'll see on the way through, and you'll see this in the PDF as well as the paper catalogue, because they're exactly the same. If it's marked with an N, you'll know it's new for this year, this catalogue year. If you see a QR code, you can scan it with your phone. We're very familiar with those now, aren't we? QR codes are great because they might lead you to a video, or they might lead you to a link in the online store that has an explanation that a product might be part of a suite, and it will have even more samples and more inspiration there for you. For more inspiration, we've also got another little icon. It's like a heart in a shopping bag, I think. That's how I would describe it. So that provides, that there's more details on the products. You can go to the online store and reference the item code or the description, and it will have more information for you. So that's really good to make sure you've got that in your mind as you're browsing through, whether you're going to the suites or looking at colours, or even some of our kits, which I'll tell you about in a second. All right, here is a little reminder that you can think about gathering some friends together for some crafting. Having a workshop is super easy. I provide the fun. You just put the kettle on and we can make a simple project that everyone will feel confident with. And it's a chance for you to have a look at how the products work together in action. It's an opportunity for you to add to your stash as well. The great thing about placing orders in the new Stampin' Rewards system is that everyone gets rewards. So not just you as the hostess, but your guests, your friends and family who are joining you for the day will also have an opportunity to earn freebies, which they can spend on a future order. So there's freebies for everyone. As the hostess, you'll get to keep everything that I demonstrate. And it's just a lovely way to get together and gather with friends. So let me know if you're interested in booking a party, and we'll get that in the diary. Here's some of the interactive pages one of the interactive pages that I was mentioning before. You've got an opportunity to write your reasons to craft. So one of the reasons I love crafting is it's about making something meaningful and memorable for people that I love. And so a list of reasons, you know, you might have a whole swag of reasons why you would send someone a card. And even a just because card is lovely. Who doesn't like getting a card in the mail? So yeah, have a think about why you're crafting, and that will help you, I guess, work out what projects are going to be your priorities coming up. Alrighty, so we have a section that is called scrapbooking workshop kits, and these are new. And they also have coordinating products. So it will mention the coordinating products that will go with this. And page 67, for example, this is the one on page 15. It's called the Memories in Bloom Scrapbooking Workshop Kit. But it says it's got some coordinating scrapbooking from scratch products on page 67. Now, so this is if you've bought the kit, you might need to replenish the papers, for example. You might need to replenish some of the background cardstock, even some of the stickers. So if you go to page 67, that's where you'll find the Memories in Bloom Scrapbooking from Scratch supplies to replenish your kit. There's even a matching stamp set there that goes with. So look out for products that coordinate with these. There is also a Florals in Bloom suite. So if you go to page 43, so I'm just concentrating on Florals in Bloom because this is the one that sort of goes across the catalogue. If we go to page 43, we've got our designer series paper again. We've got some embellishments, which of course would also coordinate with our scrapbooking workshop kit. We've got some dies, and a couple of stamp sets. So not just one stamp set, but several stamp sets that you can choose from. And they will all coordinate in similar style. So here's the one in the scrapbooking from scratch section, but you'll notice the style is very similar to both the stamps and the dies in the Florals in Bloom suite. So there's coordination across the whole catalogue with some of these items, and there is usually a reference to them. So look out for those. Look out for, additional products that they suggest with, purchasing with. So that there's the paper trimmer. There's the snips. So if you're doing some fussy cutting, they'll recommend using our paper snips to make the job a lot easier. And of course, you don't need the paper snips if you've got your dies that cut out those gorgeous flowers. So that's sort of stepping it up again. You can keep it simple, or you can step it up. It's up to you. It's up to you how many products you use in one project. So if you're putting together some scrapbooking, if you've got lots of photos sitting there and you haven't done scrapbooking in a while, there are lots of styles to choose from now, which is great. So there's another one, Totally Sweet. There's all the coordinating products mentioned there. I know there's a couple of stamp sets that will go with that. Weekend Adventures, a real outdoorsy camping adventure inspired scrapbooking kit, and everything's coordinating. You'll see there's three lots of stickers, some gorgeous designer series paper, and of course you can use these in card making as well. So versatility is the aim of the game. There's another one, Celebrating Together, with some gorgeous flowers. This also reminds me of this Gallup Florals in Bloom designer series paper, very similar. Okay, then we come to some quick and easy projects. If you don't have a die cutting machine, if you don't have a lot of products sitting at home in a craft stash, then the mix and match quick and easy options are for you. We have sticker sheets, we have already made card bases, so you don't even need to have a cutting and scoring tool. Everything is cut and scored for you. Matching envelopes, there's tags, there's more coloured envelopes as well. There's even some inspiration there for you on bottom of page 24. you'll see we've got some card designs, some layouts for you. So if you're a beginner crafter, these are great. And I would recommend getting started with putting together your own little kit with some of these. More inspiration, page 26 and 27. So this is where it reminds me of one of those crafting magazines, because all of those images are there to inspire. We've got some ephemera packs, and there they all are listed there. So that's from the previous pages. You've got them sitting there all together. So if you can mix and match these with other stamps and embellishments and dies that you might have in your stash already. Here's some scrapbooking ideas. I love how we're getting back to 12 by 12 scrapbooking. So even though we still have our memories and more pocket pages, there they are on page 30, we have some new albums which are the 12 by 12, what I would call traditional scrapbooking size. Because I know there's many of us that still like to scrapbook in that way. So look out for the memories and more if that's something that you have enjoyed. We've still got the albums, we've still got the variety photo pocket pages, and we've even got the cards and envelopes, so you can create little note cards and greeting cards. Here's some ink Stampin' spots, and I will point these out because they're not always easy to find, and if you know that they're there on page 33, one of them I will point out is actually the cloud cover. So if you wanted to get a couple of different colours, here are some colours that are already existing in our collection, but there is a cloud cover one already created, and that's in the classic Stampin' Spot small assortment 1, and you'll find the item code there, 166716. So $34 is a great deal for 5 ink pads, 5 colours. And generally what we do with the spots is we ink our stamps upside down. So if you've got a greeting or even an image, what you would do is have it facing you, open the spot and dab the spot on like a sponge. That's one way of doing it. The other way you can use your spots is to drag them across the page, and we're going to do that. I'm going to show you how to do that with one of our larger ink pads to give like a wood grain effect, but it looks great in the brighter colours as well. And there's another assortment there. So just point those out to you in case you're looking for already inked Stampin' spots. Beautiful gallery. Here we come to our suite collections, and this is the one that you have got your kits made up from. I just love this page with all the gold frames, just beautiful. My hubby's making me a mirror wall for my birthday, and we're using some old photo frames of all different gold and filigree, and we're putting mirrors into those frames. So that's sort of where I got the inspiration from that. So you can even use the catalogue for home decor inspiration. There you go. But these frames have got some of that beautiful designer series paper, and I'm going to show you this suite later, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, but the set of dies that I'm using and that I've cut your frames out of is this one, and it actually comes with the Gallery Blooms stamp set, so that's like a 10% off bundle. Here's our gorgeous papers. So we've got sort of some all over patterns on one side and some scenes and some art, either hand drawn or painted. It looks like, painted impressionist type artworks on them. And you could literally put those in a frame and put them on your wall. Gorgeous embellishments. There's that beautiful ribbon that we used, the basic beige. So soft and beautiful, and you can see how well it goes with all of those products and the accessories. Here is the Damask Designs embossing folder. If you've got the kit, you'll see that I have already embossed your card base with that. It's beautiful. All right, more memory keeping. We've got some scrapbook kits, as I said, scrapbook workshop kits, quick and easy scrapbooking and scrapbooking from scratch. They're all pictured here. So this is a fairly comprehensive overview of the different types. Here's the totally sweet scrapbooking kit. We've got a Totally Sweet stamp set there, but you will see throughout the catalogue there is actually some more Totally Sweet products. So you'll find a bundle that you can use, a 10% off bundle that has the matching dies as well and the little turtle characters. That's elsewhere in the catalogue. All right, here we go. We've got some new cardstock that's available now in all of our in colours. So Stampin' Up introduced two-tone cardstock last year, and we only had it in a couple of colours. So we only had it in Real Red, Daffodil Delight, Old Olive, I think Petunia Pop, Crumb Cake, Pool Party, Lost Gloon, a couple of colours. Now, if you have a look down these lists, we have got so many more colours to choose from, and they are all double-sided. So the two-toned cardstock is 12 by 12. It is one tone on one side, so it's darker on one side, lighter on the other side. You can use it for either scrapbooking or card making. It's $17.50 for 12 sheets. Let me just double check. Yeah, 12 sheets. You can use it with all your favourite stamps and tools. So it is obviously all Stampin' Up colours, but it's very versatile. So if you're wanting to mix and match two tones, two shades of the same colour, this is a great way to do it. So for example, if you're cutting with a die, you could place that on the darker or lighter depending on, and it will stand out. Will stand out against the background. And of course you can stamp on it. You can use it in any way you choose. So look out for that. That's on page 77, and all of the colours are listed there. They've all got different item codes, and you'll get 12 sheets, which is wonderful. So here is an example of a tone on tone, just a die cut circle on the lighter tone. And that looks like it is Petal Pink on Petal Pink. Yep. And yeah, we've got the greens, and we've got all different applications. And yeah, I think they're going to be really versatile. I can see people using them for all different. Look, there it is torn, and it's actually a white core, so that's another difference. Let me point that out, that it is white core. So when you're doing a tear line, you will actually see the tear more readily. So that's also how it's different to our other cardstock, which I think is great. Here's our notes and totes. I'm going to show you that next, so we won't spend too much time looking at that, but there's some ideas there with that bundle. We've got returning favourites, so stamps and tools together, either punches or dies, depending on which bundle you're looking at. So these are all sold separately. Of course, you can get them. You can get both the dies and the stamps because they're designed to coordinate together, but you don't have to. So some of them are actually standalone. So for example, this one, we've got some lovely frames. You don't need that stamp set, although these shapes will cut out the shapes in the stamps. So it's your choice whether you get both, but be aware that they're not 10% off when you get them together, but it's definitely worth getting some coordinating products that you can use across lots of different projects. So look out for the returning favourites. You would have seen them before in previous catalogues. All of our accessories that people use most frequently. So we've got grid paper, we've got tools, there's our heat tool, there's the bone folder. That's all on the one page, which is kind of handy to come back to. And I like the explanations for each of the products. It's a little bit more information about how you're going to use those in your projects. All our punches are together, as I mentioned before. All of our adhesives are together. So there's our glue. There is our black Stampin' Dimensionals. They don't look black there because they've got the white wax paper, but you'll see if you turn them like that, they're actually black. So there's the 4 sheets that you'll get in that for $11. It's a great deal. So all of them are together, which is great. Here's all our specialty papers and our designer series papers. Yay, they're all together again. So I love how we can go through, and it's got the suite that they come from. It's got information about the colours that are used, and it is all laid out beautifully. And it indicates whether they're 6x6 or 12x12, which is also very helpful. Okay, we've got in colour, new in colour designer series papers of all over patterns. They are super versatile, great to use. Yeah, they coordinate beautifully together, obviously, with the ink pads and accessories, the in colour accessories. So great to get some new colours in the designer series paper. Bling on page 124 and 125. You'll see all our bling. I think I've given you some antique pearls in your little kits for our project. So look out for those, and they you can actually colour those. If you've got some Stampin blends, you can use those because they're alcohol based. Colour them because they're a neutral colour. That's one of my favourite things to do, is coordinate my accessories embellishments with my project. But you can also excuse me, use them as is. Our ribbons are on the same page. We've got some new in colour ribbons. Look out for those. There's our basic beige again. What else did I want to share with you? Oh, one of my favourite pages is this one. I'm just going to have a little sip of water. My favourite page is this one. It's actually got some colour theory, some colour personalities. And if you get a chance, have a read of these pages, page 134, 135. It explains the personality of each colour. I also love those cards, combining some of my favourite stamps and with all of those gorgeous basic colour families, I guess. So instead of calling them the Stampin' Up! Names, they're just using the generalised purple, and any of our purples would come under that heading, for example. So that's a really good page. This one is also really helpful. It's a little bit more in-depth colour theory. So we've got different ways to combine colours: monochrome, complementary, analogous, and triadic. So some of the cards I'm making today are probably triadic, some are analogous. I think we might have one that's fairly monochromatic with maybe a few complementary colours thrown in, or a few neutrals. The general rule is that you can put neutrals with all of our colours. So we're actually calling them basics now. Sorry, we've got basics and we've got neutrals. So there's basic colours that will go with everything. And the neutrals also, because they've got a little bit of warmth and a little bit of cool, they're sort of like in between, and they will coordinate. Like this mossy meadow will pretty much go with every colour. And so sometimes we'll bring other colours into our neutrals that haven't been there before, because they are one of those in-between colours. They're not warm, they're not cool, they're in between, and depending on what you put them with, they'll look a little bit different. Of course, we have our subtles, brights, and regals. And these are all in cardstock, designer series paper, ink pads, ink refills, and our Stampin' Bright markers and Stampin' blends. So remember to look at all of the item codes and the explanations for those when you're wanting to place an order for things that are coordinating. Index is at the back if you're looking for something very specific and you know the name or you know what it is. That's a little bit more comprehensive than the table of contents, but they work together. I wanted to just draw your attention to the QR code at the back. This takes you directly to our online store. If you're shopping with me, you will need to log in and set up your account if you don't have one. Because we have the new Stampin' Rewards program, and I don't want you to miss out on earning rewards points for your next order. So, for example, when you spend $100, did you know that you automatically earn $10 in rewards? it keeps adding up, and you can spend those rewards whenever you want. They will expire in 12 months, and there will be a little indicator at the top of the page when you're in my online store when your points will expire. But you can use those points on anything you like in the future. And when you're in the ordering platform, you will see the instructions for using them when you come to the payment, and it will just automatically take it off your order when you indicate that that's what you'd like to do. So look out for that, and make sure you're registered, as I said, so you don't miss out. Alrighty, I'm going to get set up to show us our next project, and it's a 3D project using the Notes and Totes dies this time. So I've shown you the stamp set, the sweet little stamp set with the greetings and also the colours, the images. The Notes and Totes dies is designed to go with. So if I just open this up, we've got most of the dies in here. There's a couple that I've set aside that we're using. So you'll see we've got things like a little drink bottle die. We've got like a little scarf tie that you'll tie around the top of the tote. There's a die for the tote, which I'm going to be showing you in a minute. There's sunscreen, there's moisturizer or hand sanitizer, depending on what you're wanting to use it for. And we've even got a little starfish in a shell. So you could just use these dies as standalone dies, especially the tote bag die, because it creates 3D items. And I'm going to show you how to create a little gift bag, which you can create out of any designer series paper that you might have on hand. So let me just get organised here. So I've got some designer series paper, and this is one of our new designer series paper. Let me just find the name of that one for you, because I've forgotten. It is one of the sweets that I showed you before. And it's very floral, so you'll be able to use it for almost any occasion. It's one of those designer series papers that I think I might have made some cards with it. You may have received a card from me if you placed an order last month using the florals in bloom. There it is. So that's the designer series paper I'm using, and you'll notice one side is floral and the other side's a plainer. So you could put that on the inside of your little tote bag or on the outside, depending on what design. So I love when you're making something 3D out of designer series paper that it actually has a two-sided aspect to it. So an inside and an outside. So that's the dies, and what we're going to do is cut out the tote using the die that comes in the Notes and Totes bundle. All right, just pop that up there. And we've got our mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I've got 2 sheets of designer series paper here, and I'm just going to pop the die on there. I'll bring it in this way because I find it a bit easier to see what I'm doing. So that goes there. So I'm cutting 2 out at once because it actually needs 2 templates to go together. And these are really cute. They're not very big, but depending on what you're going to be putting in your Notes and Totes, you won't probably need a massive bag if you're just using it for, say for example, a little glasses cleaning cloth or some little chocolates. They're very sweet. So you want to cut your Notes and Totes like that on the same plane as the other one, because they go together in opposite ways like that, and I'll show you that in a second. So saving a little bit of time, because we're only cutting paper, you can actually cut 2 at once. There are fold lines that are there for you. I think the ink on my fingers is dry, so that's good. I'm not getting smudges. And you just want to fold all of the fold lines together like that to make them. This is my outside, okay? So I've decided I'm going to be green on the outside and floral on the inside. You could do the opposite. It's really up to you. I'm just going to fold all of these. So you'll notice that there is one little flap there and one little flap there, and that's for either side when we're sticking it together. So the first thing I do is I get a little bit of my Tombow glue, just a little small amount on those two flaps, and making sure they're the right way around, you're going to stick those two flaps together. Oops. And you hold it there for a couple seconds because this glue won't dry straight away. It gives you some wriggle room though, which is great. So there you go. And then on the other side, just a little bit of glue. The more glue you use, this is a good thing to remember, the longer it takes to dry. So you actually don't want to use a lot of glue. Just make sure these are tucked in before we bring that together. So I'm just tucking in the bottom, and I'm going to bring this around and I'm going to join these two up as well. So there's the two. Just going to hold that there for a sec, and I'll fix the bottom in a minute. So you can see the basic bag shape is made, and we're just going to glue the bottom together. So push this in just a little bit, and then you'll want to push this one in as well. They actually go in the opposite. Oops. Okay, I'm going to get my glue and stick it down. Just a little bit of glue is all you need. And then you want to just tuck these in at the bottom so that there's no gaps, if you can. Like that. There we go. All right, so there's the bottom of my little bag, very cute. And I'm actually going to put some handles on my bag because I want it to look like a beach bag. And in fact, it's actually going to be housing a little gift. I thought, what a nice teacher's gift or gift for your people that you work with at the end of the year, because everyone needs one of these. If you wear glasses, you'll know what I'm talking about. Everybody needs a glasses cleaner, and I'm going to indicate that it is actually a glasses cleaner by putting a pair of glasses on. And there's some cute dies that are part of this suite that you can use to create some funky little heart-shaped glasses. So here's one of my handles. I'm just going to run that through really quickly. I'm just using all of the dies in the set. And then I'm going to put a little pocket on the outside of my bag too, so I can tuck my die-cut glasses in there. Go, there's one. And then I love how the bag handles actually have the stitching on them as well. So you'll find lots of little details in these dies that, yeah, you don't see at first glance, but when you're using them, you'll see how much detail there is in them. So I'll show you. I should be using my paper piercing tool, but can you see that the stitching around the edge of those, the handles? It looks like stitched leather. It's just gorgeous. Love it. Okay, and here's my little pocket, which I'm going to put on the outside of the bag. You could put it on the inside, but I'm definitely going to put it on the outside because I want the glasses to be peeking out. I'm not going to cut the glasses for you, but I will show you the die that comes in the Notes and Totes dies that will cut the glasses out. And it cuts several heart shapes out, in fact. So there's my little pocket. Can you see the stitching on that as well? Very cute. All right, here we go. I'll just pop my mini cut and emboss machine down there. All right, now we're ready to decorate. So we've got some glue dots. I would recommend glue dots because I guess you don't really want to wait for this to dry, and you don't want a chance that it's not dry, especially if you're going to be putting chocolates or something a little bit heavier inside your tote bag. So I've got my little handles there, looking good. And on the other side, my handles, very cute. This is just so adorable. All the details come together to make it look really quite authentic, like it does look like a little beach bag. Okay, and very appropriate to have an extra pocket on your beach bag because we need to take lots of things with us. So this is for all those accessories that you don't want to lose. I'm going to just use a little bit of glue, but you notice I've left the top of that. I didn't put glue up the top because I want it to be an actual pocket, and I'll show you what we're putting inside. So one of the dies that you will receive in the Notes and Totes dies is this die here. And it looks like just 4 hearts, but in fact, if you have a look closely, you'll see the little ends of the glasses handles, and you've got like a surround as well. So you've got the lens and the surround to create several different types of glasses. So one of the ways that you can create it is if you've got the solid frame, you can actually put the 2 pairs, the 2 hearts inside the solid frame and make it look like a pair of silver glasses with green lenses. We've also got this one, which is the solid frame and the outside frame. So if you want your dark glasses, your incognito ones, although if I was going incognito, I probably wouldn't have heart glasses because, you know, but they're very cute. You've got your silver frames and your dark glasses. So 2 different ways to do that. I think I'm going to use my silver frames for this one. So I'm just going to pop a tiny smidge of glue, very small amount, like just dots really. And then it's such a small piece of cardstock, you really don't need a lot. If you need to, you could use one of your tools, so just the end of your scissors, to push it into place like that and just hold it down so that it dries. You can see how that's got quite a lot of detail. You've got your little handles, you've got the ends of the glasses where the handles join. You've got the little nose bridge part and the hearts, the silver hearts around. How cute is that? I love it. All right, so I'm going to just slide them literally into the pocket. So they're just going to sit there. If you wanted to, you could put a little glue dot behind, or a little bit of glue behind one of those hearts. I'm just going to leave them sitting in there because I just think they look cute. And inside, what I would do is grab a lens cloth. Now, I actually get these free every time I go to the optometrist. You can buy the lens cloths, it's like almost like anti-static. They're microfiber, so they clean your lenses really well. You can clean computer screens with them as well. And you just want to pop that in there. You could pop a little tag, even on the side, to say, you know, a gift for you, or thank you, or Merry Christmas, or whatever the occasion is. Let me show you some of the other ones I've created. Here's another little beach bag, which I created just using some different patterns of that designer series paper, the florals in bloom. And here's another one that's using some different designer series paper. Now this is from the beautiful Gallery Suite, which is the one that we'll be crafting with at the end today. It looks a bit more like a carpet bag. It's a little bit more old-fashioned, but I've got some coordinating glasses in there. And again, you could put a matching microfiber cloth. I think you can buy microfiber in pretty much any pattern, so it would even be probably worthwhile to get some pinking shears, and you could cut up some microfiber cloths to give away, and you can even pop a little chocolate in there as well. There's enough room. I like how they bend outwards as well to fit more, or you can keep them flat. Now, another thing that you can make with this suite is cards. You could also use it for scrapbooking, but I just wanted to show you a card that I created using this suite. And it is, I've basically copied page 81 in the catalogue. So let me find it for you, because there's some really cute ideas on there that you might also want to copy. It's one of my favourite techniques. Page 81. There we go. There it is, the Notes and Totes bundle. And you can see at the top there is a little scene that's been created with a fence. So the dies, all of the dies that I've used come in that set. And I've used some of the Designer Series paper, similar, the scene Designer Series paper in the background. But you can see, like, if that could be a Bon Voyage card, it could be, hope you have a great break. Here is, a book for you to read at the beach. If you're wanting to send a little gift card to somebody, or just wish them a relaxing holiday, a relaxing day off, that would be perfect. So you can see we've got a little sunscreen, got some more glasses. There's our little shell. And our water bottle. I love how the water bottle's got that lovely detail on it there, with the lid and a different handle. Got some options there with some trim on the bag. And that's just stuck down flat, that bag. So it's not a 3D bag on the card. It is just stuck down flat. So super versatile, really cute for gift bags, and also great for scrapbooking and cards. So that's the Notes and Totes bundle on page 81. And that is a brand new bundle, and it is 10% off when you get both of those items. So look out for that. Alrighty. I'll give you a minute to have a little break. Maybe you can grab another cuppa, and I'll just get tidied up here. If you've got any questions, I know it does have some beautiful products. Yeah, I agree, Kathy. It's lovely. They've done really well with the variety as well. There's just so many different styles, and I particularly like the fact that there's some vintage products in there. So vintage is one of those styles that is coming back into vogue, and our last project for today, in fact, is going to be very, very vintage in its vibe, if I can use that word. Yeah. So please feel free to grab a cuppa. I'm just going to tidy up here as we go, and I'll answer some questions. Yeah, I want to try and keep everything simple today as well, because you can step things up. You don't have to create really complicated projects for them to be effective and meaningful either. Keeping things really simple, like this is, I would say this is a fairly complicated card, although the dies make it simple. You're not cutting anything by hand, but there's lots of things going on. Whereas something like our first card, it's a lot simpler to put together. And even though there's some different elements, the concept is fairly basic. So I think a beginner card maker could do something like this. Especially if you don't have all of the tools and accessories that you need to cut the dies, for example, you can use punches. You can use just strips of paper for your background. You don't even need Designer Series paper for your background. So use what you've got and use what you're comfortable using, and put your own spin on it. That would be my suggestion. Am I only doing online classes now? No, I still have my stamp club, and I still do workshops at people's houses, Pamela. So yeah, but I wanted to reach more people with my launch, because I know there's people that will be watching either live or afterwards on YouTube that aren't able to attend my launch whenever it is, and I only do one launch. So I wanted to reach as many people as possible with news about the new products, and I think doing a live is the best way to do that. So I do still do in-person classes, and I also come to you. So as I mentioned at the beginning, let me know if you're interested in having a party at yours, and gathering some friends, and I can come and show you more. Obviously, I can't show you everything today. Otherwise, we would probably be here for a very long time. Okay, how are we going? I'm going to have another sip, and then I will get into our last project. So you might, if you've got your little packs there, you might want to get everything ready. And those extra items that I asked you to get, I think one was a sponge dauber, some adhesives. I think I asked you to get a neutral coloured ink pad, so either crumb cake or basic beige or smoky slate. One of those colours would be perfect to decorate your frame. I think that might be all. Yeah, sponge dauber, adhesives, and an ink pad that is fairly neutral in colour. So don't lose your linen thread. You've all got some linen thread if you've got your little pack there. So you just want to get out all your ingredients. I'm going to cut some of those ingredients. Well, I'm going to cut the frame. I'm not going to cut the little pieces that you've got, because I will just show you the dies that I've used for that. So let me get all of those. Alright, so I'm just going to use this block. There's my thinking of you stamp. Alright. So if you're wanting to know where the suite is that we are using, the Craft Along project is from the beautiful gallery suite. And you'll find that on page 52. You'll see some beautiful samples there, but all of the items that I'm using are actually on page 54 and 55. So there is the dies, there's the embossing folder, there's our beautiful paper. So that's where it's from. We've got lots of different samples actually. The suites are just beautiful. This is one of the larger suites, and you'll just see how all of the different items work together when you look at the detail in these projects. They are beautiful. Okay, so that's where we are in the catalogue. Beautiful gallery. And you'll want to get all your bits and pieces ready to go. And look, don't worry if you're not keeping up with what we're doing. It's no stress, because you can always go back and watch the replay later. The replay, you'll be able to replay anything that's on Facebook for 30 days. So Facebook keeps our Facebook Lives accessible for 30 days, and then after that they're taken down, but I will always upload my Facebook Lives to YouTube. So if you're following me on my YouTube channel, you will see all of my Facebook Lives there as a YouTube video, and that's where I've got the list of items that I've used. So if you want to know what I've used for any of my projects that you see in a Facebook Live, always head over to the YouTube video, and there will be a list with links down the bottom. And that's probably the best way to watch my videos in the future, if you've not caught me on Facebook. Okay, so I have got the Gallery Blooms dies, and I'll just show you really quickly. Here is the suite, so the the bundle. We're not using the stamps today. I'm going to show you lots of samples using these stamps because, as I said, this is my favourite suite. It's my favourite bundle in the whole catalogue. I said I'm revisiting my vintage phase, and this really lets me do that. I just love all of the colours. I love the feel of this, and I like the way you can use it with the bright colours as well as the soft vintage colours that they've got in the suite. And I'll show you some samples of how I've done that. The dies are what we're concentrating on, and one of the dies in the Gallery Blooms dies is actually this one. And what it will do is create multiple frames. It also creates a rectangle shape, so it cuts 3 different shapes in one go. So one cut means that you can create 3 different projects, which is wonderful. I love not having to cut all different sizes and run it through, you know, the big shot, the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine 3 times just to get 3 different shapes. It makes it more quick to create something, and you get onto the fun stuff straight away. So let's do that. I've got this is how I've cut your frames, and I wanted to show you how it worked. I've got some very vanilla cardstock here, and I'm just going to run it through. If you line it up carefully too, you in fact get a 4th shape, which is an even larger frame. And I would use something like that in my scrapbooking to frame a photo. You can obviously use any colour cardstock. Let me just pop this down so I've got my space back. There we go. So here is my larger frame. This is just the offcut, but again, it will lend itself to a 6x8 photo. Framing a 6x8 photo. Here is the rectangle that comes out the middle, but here are our other 2 rectangles. So the one that you have, if you've got your kit in front of you, is this one. So it's the smaller of the 2. You'll notice the larger one actually has some extra lines on it. And the lines give you an idea of the feel that it's a photo frame that's been buttered up. You know, the corners are mitered, if you like. This one's a little bit plainer, so what we're going to do is dress it up a bit. And that's why I've asked you to get a neutral coloured pad. If you don't have a rectangle shape, you could cut any shape really and still do this technique with us today. I've got grey granite here, which is my neutral that I've chosen, and what I do when I'm creating this sort of wood grain effect is I just open my ink pad like that, and I hold it so that the coloured strip is in the palm of my hand, and you've got more access to the edge of your ink pad up the top. So you don't want to hold it like this, because see how you've got a bit of ink pad there that is not going to allow you to get purchase on the cardstock. You want to hold it like this so you've got the edge really close to the end of your pad like that. And then, are you watching? All you're doing is just dragging like this. So you can do it as hard or as soft as you like. But if you're dragging and you're finding that it's not giving enough ink, just pressing a little bit harder, in fact, helps. And the idea is that you're wanting to create a bit of a wood grain effect. So you've got the grain of wood. Don't worry about little gnarly bits like that, because wood does have inconsistencies. And what you're wanting to create is something that looks a bit like a wooden frame that's going to be around our little work of art that we're creating on our card. All right, so that's your frame done. And you can use any ink pad, as I said, you can use any colour with that technique. I hope you have fun with that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to apply some ink to our base card before we put anything on there, because we just want to create a little bit of a shadow effect. And we've already got our beautiful embossing folder there, which you can see is the damask designs. You can put it either, you can use it either landscape or portrait. We're doing a landscape card today. Well, I'm doing a landscape card. If you want to do a portrait card though, depending on your greeting, so for example, if you're wanting to put your frame like that and stamp a greeting there, just choose a smaller greeting. And you might even want to put your little fronds, your flowers and your leaves that we're going to use coming from the top, or you could put your greeting up the top and have them coming from the bottom. It's up to you. I've chosen to do a landscape card and I think that works. So I'm going to grab my sponge dauber and I'll use the same color, grey granite. And what I'm going to do is just come on to the edge like that and just add a little bit of color over the top of that embossing in particular. So you'll find that the embossed pattern, whatever embossing you've used, it will come out a little bit darker. Now you could do this just on the corners or just opposite corners, or you could come in from each of the corners. In fact, I might do that on this one just so you can see what it looks like with a little bit more of the shading. And the sponge dauber just lightly applies it, so you're really not putting a lot of ink on there. And you can see how it just captures. You see how it just captures that pattern. So just keep adding it until you're happy. And then you can even come in with your bit of paper and your frame and just make sure that you're liking the look of that. And if you're happy with that, you can close your ink pad. Alrighty, so what we're going to do is assemble, and using a little bit of glue. So you want to get your Tombow glue, or if you've got some double-sided tape, whatever you prefer to use. Stampin' seal, and the frame fits perfectly, or I should say the paper fits perfectly behind the frame if I've cut it correctly. Apologies if I haven't. I hope I have. I hope I have cut it correctly for you. Too late for Stamp Club? No. Well, we're starting another one in July. So we're just reaching the end of our current round. Let me know if you'd like to be in the next round. So yeah, send me a message, Pamela, and I can send you the details. If you'd like to be in the next round with us, we'd love to have you. We'd love to have you back. There will be some spots available, I'm sure. For you and your mum, if she would like to join us as well. So I'm just going to put some dimensionals. I've just used the small ones. I don't know, because sometimes I just like using the small ones. And I'm going to get the backing off those. So if you've got dimensionals there, or some things some foam mounting tape, I think is what it's generally called. Just want to put some of that, and that's going to help your little focal point of the card stand out even more. We're also going to stamp a greeting, and usually it's easier to do that before you put dimensionals on the back, but we'll see how we go. Hopefully it will be okay. Just need to stamp it carefully. All right, here we go. Okay, I'm going to put this on and aim for the middle. You just want an equal amount of cardstock around the top and the bottom and the sides, like that. So it's right in the middle, nice and centered. And I'm going to stamp my thinking of you. And as I said, I'm going to try and keep it nice and clean. So when you're inking up, if you've already applied your dimensionals, if you haven't, don't do it until after you've stamped. But if you've done it like me, just really lightly ink up your stamp. Make sure that there's no ink around the outside. So you don't want to get that halo effect. Just really lightly tap, tap, tap. And then we're going to stamp thinking of you just there, like that. Beautiful. So you can see that. I managed to do it without getting an extra halo. I'm happy with that. Right, now we've got our gorgeous little fronds. You should have 3 of those. One is basic beige, the other one is basic grey. And I've used all of these little dies that are found in the Gallery Blooms dies. You'll see there's some standalone dies. So you've got lots of leaves, lots of fronds. I'm going to show you some cards that I've used these on. They are all standalone. They don't go with a stamp. So you can use them to create these beautiful silhouette features that you can put on cards. So they're the 3 that I've used there. Now the frame comes all with it as well, which is wonderful. I'm just going to make sure I've got all of the bits out because I don't want the extra bits to be inside the holes. I actually want them to be really silhouetted against the background. And then it's a matter of just arranging these so that you're not covering up the greeting, but you're wanting to create a little mini garden on the side. And it's okay, it's actually okay to have them overlapping the frame a little bit, or you can bring them so that they're sort of draping over the side, draping over the greeting, like that. So when you're sort of happy, I'm happy with that arrangement, I'm going to start gluing these down, and just a small smidge of glue. If you want to use Stampin' Seal on the back, you can. So you can see the little tiny spots of glue that I'm putting on. It's not very much. And I'll just put a little tiny bit there. If you're overlapping these, you don't need to put as much glue on, you'll notice, because they'll stick each other down, if that makes sense. And they're very small pieces of cardstock. So you really don't need a lot of adhesive at all. Just going to tuck that one behind. There we go. So it's coming over. And then just a little bit underneath. Yeah. That's it. Beautiful. Okay, so we're almost done. Now I'm going to use my linen thread next, and what I will do is just tie it into a bow, sorry. So how I tie a bow is I just make a loop like that. I have one short tail and one long tail with my linen thread, and I wrap the long tail around and I bring it through the hole. You might have other ways of tying bows, but that's how I do it. I find it the most straightforward way. And then I'm going to grab a glue dot behind the knot. Now I've given you some embellishments as well, and yours are the antique pearls, as I said, and they will definitely coordinate with this new suite. What I didn't have when I was putting together your kits was the new embellishments that go with the suite. So I'm going to go and get those. These are the pressed flower motifs. I've just realised they're very heavy. They are metal, not plastic, and when you hold the packet, it's a really tiny packet, but there's actually quite a bit of weight there. So they are real metal embellishments, and they're all self-adhesive. They're called pressed flower motifs, and you'll find them on page 55 in the beautiful gallery suite. I'm just going to open those, and you will want to use your antique pearls, or you could use any embellishments that you've got, but they come in, these ones come in large and small. And I'm just going to grab a couple. I might put them out of the frame actually. That, and then one maybe down the bottom. If you don't like the position, just lift it up gently and then move it. I'm going to try and put it where there's no embossing. There we go. I'm happy with that. I like that extra little bit of interest. It's a bit of bling, it's subtle, it's sort of a little bit tarnished looking, a little bit old. And honestly, these are gorgeous. If you look at the detail, they do look like little pressed flowers. Very heavy, very substantial. You only need a couple for that impact. So that's a really nice little thinking of you card. That could be a sympathy card. It could be just thinking of you because I know you're going through a hard time and praying for you. It's just nice to send cards, isn't it, that let people know that they're in our thoughts and in our prayers. Oh, wonderful. That's great, Pamela. I will send you the details. When I've got the dates, I will definitely send you the details. We'd love to have you back. I'm going to show you some more cards that are using the frames in the Gallery Blooms. And I might just get my scrap paper off here so that we've got a clean background to show you. So there's our card. Here's a similar card using some of the designer series paper in the blues. I've got some different fronds there, and I've done the same technique with basic grey on my larger frame this time. And instead of stamping over the flower, so I thought they'd get a little bit lost, I've actually white embossed onto the frame, so where it was a little bit darker. So a little note is what that one says. Here's another one another two of them where I haven't actually done anything with the frame. I've just used the same size frame as yours in your pack, in a green colourway and in a blue colourway, and I've stamped on the frame. But I've also used some of the beautiful images from the Gallery Bloom stamp set. You can see them in the background, tone on tone. And yeah, they're just a little thank you card and a happy birthday card. These papers are beautiful in real life. They're just stunning. Yes, we'll be using some of these products in our next round of Stamp Club, absolutely. So you'll be able to work. You'll be able to find out a little bit more about them. Here's another one, just in the green, really simple. There's no embellishments on this one. I don't think it needs it because we've got that beautiful framed artwork that's from the paper. And that's using Mossy Meadow as the frame. Now, what to do with your offcuts? When you have cut quite a few of these little fronds, that's my one I prepared earlier. This is our card that we made today. When you've cut quite a few of these, you'll end up with offcuts that look a little bit like, let me just find these. Yeah, so you'll end up with a lot of these strips. And what I have done is I've cut them up and I've created some cards with them. So you've got the negative of the image that you've die cut out. And you don't want to throw these out because they make great templates if you're wanting to sponge some leaves in the background. Okay, you don't have a leaf stamp, but you can use those as like a little stencil. But you can also cut them up into individual images like that and use them on a card. So that's just one idea with that. Here's a couple I've made with some of the designer series paper from Beautiful Gallery in the background, using some petal pink and basic grey and grey granite. Very simple cards, and again, no embellishments. I've actually used the embossing folder on this one here, this offcut, so that's added a bit of texture and some stamping on this one. So don't throw anything out, you can reuse. Here's one similar to our card, using the bigger frame again, and that's the portrait orientation. So you can stamp on the beautiful designer series paper as long as your ink is dark enough and it's not too busy. So some of the all over patterns are perfect for that. Now here I have some in colour ones, and for these ones I have cut out some fronds out of the paper, out of the designer series paper again, so it just sort of looks like a mottled green, and I've used some of those little dies in the set, in the Gallery Blooms dies, cut out of the in colour and these are stamped. We've got some stamping in the background. This this rectangle is actually the inside of that frame that I punched out. So that's what you can use the inside part of the frame's die for. So keep all of those as well, because they make great little platforms to put embellishments and to stamp on, and it creates a card. It creates another card. So you really get 5 cards out of the one run through with the die. It's amazing. And I've used a couple of different greetings as well on those. So that's all the in colours I've used there, and some just basic beige background. And here's just a few. You might have seen these on my blog or on my Facebook page that I've shared recently. Oops. Even just a strip of the designer series paper. Go these ones first. These have got a little strip of the design series paper on the inside and just a strip on the outside as well. And they coordinate beautifully together. Let me push them up so you can see better. Right there. And these ones, just using an entire background, creating an entire background with that beautiful DSP. You can see they're like works of art. So some of them are etchings, some of them look like they're charcoal drawings, others look like oil painting. There's a big mixture. There's some sort of more modern imagery and more Renaissance type imagery. It really is a beautiful set of paper to play with. You can use just a little strip of it or use it as a whole background, and it's got that real wow factor about it. So that is Beautiful Gallery. If you don't have that on your wish list yet, you might put it on there now because it's just gorgeous. I love it. All right. Let me find my notes and make sure I'm reminding you of all the things I need to. I'm going to flip this around again. There we go. Pop you in the cradle. All right, so we're coming up to the end of our time together. I hope you enjoyed seeing just a few of those products in action, because it is it's good to see what they look like in real life, or even on a Facebook Live. It's not real life for you, but it gives you an idea of how things work together, how you can use different products from different suites, and even different bundles together. And I hope that's given you some inspiration and just helped you get to know some of my favourite things in the new catalogue. I do want to say, don't forget that you can book a demonstration at your house, and I can come over with some more goodies to show you and your friends. Workshops are free, and it's a chance for you to get to play. So let me know if you're interested in that, and we can book a time. And don't forget to place an order. If you're placing an order this month and your order comes to $100 before shipping, you will go in the draw to win one of the card kits. So I'll let you know what the one is that you've won. And if you've already got it, we can switch it out. So make sure you are aware of that, and there'll be 3 kits on offer, and I'll make the draw. I'll do the draw at the end of the month and announce the winners then. If you place an order, you'll get a thank you from me anyway. So if it's $35 or more, you'll be earning Stampin' rewards, which is lovely. So just make sure you're logged in for that. If you have any problems with that, let me know, and I can talk you through that process. It's time for me to say goodbye. I hope you have a great Saturday, and happy Mother's Day for all the mums and mother figures and significant mothers in our lives. Tomorrow, I hope that you have a beautiful day and that you're celebrated as you deserve. And I will see you next time on my next live. So I'll be showing you more things as we move through this new catalogue. I've got lots of things up my sleeve to show you and share with you. So stay posted, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.